Welcome to your official guide and review of Iceland. Presented by 24 Hours of My Passport. This is your host, AJ McLaughlin. Listen, people, I got lots to show you and tell you, but before I get into it, man, let's take a look at some of these highlights. Take a look. Go ahead. Go. Oh my God, guys, tell me those sights weren't amazing. But I will promise you this, seeing it in person is so much more better, like 10 times better. It's just actually being in that moment is crazy. So if you guys may or may not have noticed that I just actually recently just traveled back from Iceland, Reykjavik. That's my Viking accent, Reykjavik. Wait, is that a pirate? No, that's a pirate though. My bad, I'm sorry. But I'm actually gonna give you guys my official review and feedback and guide to prepare yourself to travel to Iceland in the near future or in the near coming future, weeks and months advance, whatever. Whatever the case is, I'm gonna give you my feedback, my general feedback, and my best feedback and review and guide to help prepare yourself for a better stay and travel experience. Cool? All right, guys, so first bullet point, preparation. Oh my gosh, listen guys, I can't stress this anymore. Before even thinking about or buying your tickets, please go down a checklist of things that you would like to do, locations, hotel locations that you would like to stay at, any tours that you would like to go on, etc. Just because this is gonna be a very, very huge stress reliever before actually heading to Iceland. Because listen, I'll tell you this guys, it's cheap to get to Iceland, but it's expensive being there. I'm talking from hotels, food, to even driving out there. Everything is very, very expensive out there. I don't know, everybody's pockets are different, everybody's financial status is different at the same time, but helping yourself prepare for this in the long run is going to relieve a lot of stress on you, the group that you're with, your friends, your family, whatever the case is, all right? Trust me on this one. Preparation, that's bullet point number one. Okay, bullet point number two, tours. Okay, I got this. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, guys. Tours are expensive in Iceland. When I mean expensive, this could make or break your trip, your wallet, your marriage, or your life. I'm not kidding people. Okay, maybe not your life, but everything else I mentioned, it could possibly happen. I'm serious. I've seen people arguing at the airport like crazy. I'm not gonna get into that, okay? But listen, guys, I strongly and highly suggest you guys do tons of research in terms of the tours that you actually want to do or the tours that you want to participate on, because on average, a tour is about $80 and up per person. Now, the thing about Iceland, it's not very centralized where everything is kind of right in the city per se. It's kind of like you have to venture out to different points, and on average, from what I've seen and experienced, it's about 30 to 45 minutes in between getting from Reykjavik in the city center to the actual nearest point of interest per se, the next sightseeing point. So I very, very highly, strongly recommend you guys kind of figuring out what you guys would like to do, what you guys would like to see, because it could be much more cost efficient if you guys actually were to rent a car or drive around in Iceland, just because it's gonna save tons of money, especially if you guys are going with a group of people where you guys can split the cost and all that stuff. I will definitely talk about the driving and all that stuff, but when it comes down to the tours, just do your best research in terms of finding out what you guys would actually like to do and see, and then have a tour budget set aside besides having your trip budget. You get it? Copy? Good. Moving on. Bullet point number 3. Okay, bullet point number 3 is it's on food. Oh my God, where do I start? Oh, I almost forgot how I started. I actually said to myself, you know, as soon as you land in Iceland, you're gonna start that diet that you've been wanting to start. Yeah, and yeah, I did. No, I'm kidding, but like you guys get the point where I'm coming from. Food is extremely expensive over there. Like I said, everyone's financially different and different standing from everyone else. But just to give you guys a little reference point of how expensive food can be in Iceland. So at the gas stations and rest areas, you're looking at $15 to about $20 for like fish and chips or per se, and about $21 and up at restaurants, airport, hotels. Like I'm talking about a plate of food. Like a standard plate of food is $21 and up at restaurants, airports, and hotels. Standard plate of food, people. So to all my big plate eaters, I hope you guys are mentally and financially prepared yourself for this ride ahead. It's crazy. Like, listen guys, my highest recommendation to everybody or anybody that's actually looking to travel to Iceland is to prepare yourself by packing snacks, you know, getting your favorite Nutri-Grain bars or your favorite snacks that you like to eat while going on road trips and all that stuff, just because you will possibly need it for the tour rides, because the tour rides can be extensive and long hauls, or if you guys decide that you want to rent a car or something like that, those snacks could come in handy and it could save you extremes. Well, I don't want to say extremes, but it could save you quite a bit of more money from spending it on food while you're in Iceland. So, you know, you have extra money to do other things and, you know, enjoy yourself while you're actually in Iceland. So, highly recommend you guys to pack the snacks. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go get some bars or whatever the case you want to do, like anything to hold you over from not having to stop and always having to buy a plate of food in different areas and all that stuff, because it's going to save you a pretty penny. Cool? Got it? Moving on. Point number 4. Bullet point number 4 is hotels. Where does one stay in Iceland? Great question. Now, so it's definitely dependent on what you want to do and what would you like to see is going to help determine where you should stay at in Iceland. For example, like myself, you know, I wanted to do a lot more traveling amongst the country and see a lot more of the countryside and all that stuff. So therefore, my hotel, I had 2 hotels, which one was located in Hofen, which is 6 hours from Reykjavik. Like I was Reykjavik. It's 6 hours from Reykjavik, so I had to rent a car, and I drove from Reykjavik all the way to Hofen, in which I stayed at a hotel called Foss Hotel Van Torco. I don't know how to pronounce it, forgive me, but it's right there. So I stayed there for a night, and then after that I traveled back to the city, which I stayed at a hotel called Hotel Lotus. Which was not directly in the city center. It was about 10-minute drive from the city center to my hotel, which it was a great price point, and it saved me quite a bit of money by not staying in the city center and having to pay for parking and all that stuff, just because, you know, like I said, I had a car. So depending on what you want to do and what you want to see, if you guys just want to prefer staying in the city center, then I just recommend you guys staying in the city center. Just do your research in terms of how much the pricing for the hotel is going to be during the time that you're going to be there. But just for example, for the pricing for the time that I was around there in October, it was around $200 and up to stay in the city center, just to give you guys a frame of reference in terms of if you guys are deciding to go during this time or the summertime, which is the actual busy season. So prices are going to be much more expensive in the summertime. So depending on what you guys would like to do and depending on what you guys would like to see, it's going to determine where you should stay in Iceland. Cool? Got it? Next. Okay guys, so our final bullet point number 5. Bullet point number 5 is driving. Driving in Iceland. Guys, listen, if you guys decide to drive and rent a car in Iceland, I need you to do the following first, please and thank you. I need you to go buy some rosary beads. Doesn't matter the price or anything like that. I need you to get them blessed by your local priest, nun, or if you can, the Pope, for crying out loud. Wow, listen, guys, I don't mean to scare you, but driving in Iceland can be nerve-wracking. I'm talking about nerve-wracking. Listen, man, on Route 1, they have these narrow one-lane roads that go through and near cliff sides, ocean sides, mountains, you name it. You got cars, big truckers, tour buses driving 90 miles an hour and up, like within feet from you, and it gives me the chills. Listen, so guys, if you guys do decide to rent a car in Iceland, please get all necessary insurances from that car rental company, just because you don't want to deal with any type of distress. You know, there's tons of different things that out there that could possibly ruin your trip, and you don't want to ruin your trip over something that you could just get yourself a stress-free reliever by just purchasing all the necessary insurances. All right, guys, so before renting a car in Iceland, I need you to be mindful of the amount of passengers that you're with and the weather conditions. Like, for example, I rented a Volkswagen hatchback, which is comfortable for about 1 to 2 people with decent amount of luggage, 1 per person. You may need to use a back seat, if anything, but be very mindful of that, just because it's going to make or break your fuel consumption usage. Fuel is very, very expensive in Iceland. It is about 233 kronos as of October of 2018. So that could be very, very cost efficient, especially if you decide to rent an SUV or anything of those likings. I highly recommend having a fuel consumption budget. I spent about $200 per se just in fuel alone. Once again, I did travel 6 hours from the city, 6 hours back, and then I was doing a lot of traveling in the city, driving to the Blue Lagoon, etc., etc. For your speed demons out there, there are speed limits out there. It's usually 90 kilometers an hour on the highway. Then it's 70 kilometers an hour once you're heading into a town, and then once you get into a town, it's about 50 kilometers an hour. Just be mindful of all of the signage right there located on the highway. If you guys are still deciding to drive in Iceland, I highly recommend you guys driving during daytime hours, just because Route 1 has no highway lamps. Like, it has no highway lamp lights. They just have like reflectors alongside the highway, just to guide people to not go off-road. So once daytime hours are kind of dimming down, it gets very, very more dangerous, just because, like I said, you know, you have people, you still are on those narrow single one lane highways where you got people zooming by you and all that stuff. So I highly recommend you guys, before driving, pay very close attention to the road and do the speed limit. Yeah, that's my best and high recommendations to you. One of my first personal experiences and my feedback in this at this venue, the Blue Lagoon. My personal experience there was, it was good. It was okay. The staff could be a little bit more helpful in terms of not thinking that everyone has been there before. You know, that was the kind of like aura that I got, and that's kind of like how the feeling that I got once I actually arrived there. It was kind of like, don't you know what you're doing, like, kind of thing. Like, I'm like, bro, this is kind of like my first time. But yeah, it's you get there, you know, they give you a little little blue locker key, which is really cool, because it's kind of like everything is like technologically advanced over in that little area. It was cool. So they give you a little locker key, which you go upstairs to your locker. You get to lock it with your actual key. You just have to kind of like tap it against the this like little sensor thing, whatever, blah blah blah, after you put all your stuff into your locker. And then after that, you go take a shower and all that stuff. And then after you take a shower, you get to go outside to the Blue Lagoon and chill. They got drinks, they got a restaurant there and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. So another experience was with Iceland Air. That was the plane that I actually took from Boston direct to Iceland. They got great service on that flights. They offer multiple different services on there in terms of, you can actually buy a tour on there, actually, believe it or not. Like, so like if you actually forgetting or you forgot to purchase a tour and all that stuff, they have actual magazines, and they have their flight attendants that would definitely help you and assist you into booking tours and etc. They're very friendly, and the food is actually good on there too. You can purchase food and all that stuff. Another personal experience that I have to share is drone usage. So guys out there, ladies and gentlemen, for you drone flyers and you're planning to bring your drone, some places do frown upon the drone usage. So just actually review and look at the sign. Sometimes I didn't see it and I was flying my drone and it was like kind of like I ended up bringing it back down and all that stuff. But just be mindful of the different signage, you know what I mean? Just kind of respect it, because it's one of those places where it's not monitored like that, so it's kind of one of those places where it's like on an honor system type of thing. So just a little quick heads up on if you guys plan on using your drone and all that stuff out there, to just be mindful of the signage and all that extra stuff. Got it? Besides that, I had a great time in Iceland. I definitely recommend everybody to head out there, and if you can, and if it's in your budget, to rent a car and actually go through the countryside, just because you get to see a lot more of the beautiful sights and mountainsides, the glaciers and all that stuff by actually venturing out from the city center. Not discrediting the city center, the city center was great in Reykjavik. But if you do have the opportunity to venture out and go inside the country, you guys will definitely admire the views and sights, sounds, and all that extra stuff. But I want to thank you guys for watching this review, my official review and guide to Iceland, presented by 24 Hours on My Passport. I'm your host, AJ McLaughlin. Listen, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, tell a friend about this. And till next time, salutations.